My family is clearly the wealthiest in New York, but even for an $8 takeout order, I still click refund only. That's because in my past life, my family's housekeeper Evie Hudson's daughter Ivy Robertson had bound herself to some kind of transaction system. Every dollar I spent would end up in her pocket, so Ivy started using moral blackmail to pressure me into donating to all the underprivileged students at school. I thought it was a good deed, so I didn't think twice about it and wrote a check for $2 million straight away. But somehow, that money magically became Ivy's deposit, while my check showed an amount of zero. Everyone called me a fraud, and even the man I was keeping broke up with me. But Ivy used the money I had spent to do good deeds and make donations everywhere, becoming the beautiful, kind-hearted rich person in everyone's eyes. She even turned around and slandered me, claiming I was the housekeeper's daughter. I was so furious that I pulled out my black card and went on a shopping spree, trying to prove I had money, only to discover the card's limit had been instantly drained. Meanwhile, Ivy generously transferred $8 million and mocked me. "You're broke but still trying to act rich. Does your mom's housekeeper salary give you enough to keep up this charade?" I faced online harassment like never before. Unable to handle the pressure, I had a complete mental breakdown, and for some reason, my body quickly deteriorated too. I died before my father Ivy Robertson could come save me. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back on the day Ivy pressured me to donate to all the underprivileged students at school. A girl said, "Amelia, you're so vain. You're just a housekeeper's daughter, yet you insist on pretending to be rich and donating to underprivileged students. Amelia Robertson is my name." Another girl chimed in, "Exactly. If Miss Robertson hadn't kindly covered that $2 million for you today, you'd be a complete fraud. You better apologize to Miss Robertson right now. Otherwise, I'm taking you straight to the police station." The chorus of accusations rang in my ears. It wasn't until everyone started pushing and shoving me that I snapped back to reality. Looking at the angry faces of my classmates, I finally realized I had truly been reborn. And I was right back on the day Ivy used that transaction system to manipulate me into donating to all the underprivileged students at school. Just moments ago, the $2 million check I had personally donated suddenly turned into a blank check. But Ivy immediately transferred the exact same amount as a donation, then turned around and slandered me, claiming I was the housekeeper's daughter. Seeing my silence, Ivy immediately rushed forward. She put on a caring act and urged me, "Amelia, I've overlooked you stealing my haute couture dresses and limited edition bags. But now you dare to commit donation fraud in public? Since you can't actually donate any money to everyone anyway, just admit your mistake and apologize. Otherwise, I won't be able to protect you anymore." Looking at the calculation in Ivy's eyes, I knew she was deliberately trying to provoke me with her words. In my past life, I had indeed acted impulsively. I was so angry that I pulled out my black card, told the underprivileged students to spend freely, and promised to donate however much they spent. But just as the underprivileged students swore to max out the black card and happily went to pay, the POS machine suddenly issued a warning. Then a mechanical female voice announced, "Insufficient funds on this card. Please try again." Meanwhile, Ivy generously transferred over $10 million and promised to cover all the underprivileged students' expenses. In an instant, I became everyone's most hated person, while Ivy became the beautiful, kind-hearted rich person. Just as I was thinking about how to break out of this predicament, my boyfriend James Simpson suddenly burst out. He was dressed head to toe in designer brands, wearing a $1 million watch on his wrist. James arrogantly pointed at me and cursed, "Amelia, I thought you were actually rich. Turns out you're just a fake pretending to be wealthy. If you hadn't shamelessly pleased me this whole Christmas, I wouldn't have given you a second glance. We're breaking up right now." But originally, it was James who envied my luxurious lifestyle and shamelessly begged me to keep him. If he hadn't been decent looking, I wouldn't have kept him either. But now James looked at me like I was trash, even kicking me hard in the chest, as if afraid I'd cling to him. People around us applauded and loudly congratulated James for escaping his miserable situation. Miserable situation? I gave him $1 million in spending money every month. Apparently, in their eyes, this was a miserable situation. Just as I was about to reveal the truth, Ivy's eyes immediately reddened, and she slapped me across the face. She cried, "Amelia, even now, you still won't admit your mistake? Even though you're just my family's housekeeper's daughter, I've always been good to you. All you had to do was say sorry to me, and I would have forgiven you for old time's sake. But why won't you just admit it?" I covered my swollen cheek and gritted my teeth as I stood up. I said coldly, "Admit it? Fine. I'll admit it right now. That's right. I am the housekeeper's daughter. I impersonated Ivy's identity. I was wrong. Miss Robertson, I hope you won't hold it against a mere housekeeper's daughter like me." Everyone froze in place, clearly not expecting me to admit it so readily. Ivy was about to say something else, but I turned and walked away, not giving her another chance to frame me. Once I was far enough away, I opened various shopping apps and food delivery platforms, going on a crazy ordering spree. Ivy thought my lack of tears and tantrums meant I was plotting something, but when she saw the bank account balance keep increasing, she was absolutely delighted. She immediately sent me a message, "Amelia, everyone says you need to treat us and apologize. Buy another 100 cups of coffee and have them delivered." I replied with a cold smile, "Sure." Then I actually ordered 100 cups of coffee for delivery. As soon as the coffee arrived, I immediately applied for a refund only claiming food safety issues. Not just that order, I applied for refunds on every single purchase I'd just made on the shopping platforms. With my actions, the hundreds of thousands of dollars I'd spent quickly returned to my pocket. But when I reopened the shopping interface, I discovered that the account applying for refunds had somehow become Ivy's. Sure enough, this trading system could only transfer my spending amounts to Ivy's account. Once my purchases were cancelled, to maintain balance, the system would register the refund records under Ivy's name, forcibly legitimizing those mysterious income sources of hers. I was so excited I nearly jumped up. This time, Ivy was going to suffer. I instantly spent nearly $3 million on a shopping frenzy. After receiving the goods, I deliberately found various reasons to apply for a refund only on every single order, even an $8 takeout meal. From underwear and panties, snacks, and sanitary pads, to limited edition handbags, haute couture clothing, and even a suburban house from a court auction, I returned everything. Even so, I still felt inexplicably anxious. Remembering how quickly my body had deteriorated in my past life, I decided to return to the family villa during the weekend break. As soon as I walked in, I saw Ivy and James throwing a party in the living room, surrounded by many classmates. When they saw me, everyone's faces showed disgust. "Amelia, you're back," Ivy said. She was wearing a haute couture gown, setting down her wine glass filled with 1992 Chateau Lafite, and walked toward me elegantly. Ivy continued, "Today is James's birthday. He said he really wanted to throw a party at the villa, so I brought him and our classmates over. We finished all the wine in the cellar, so hurry up and order a few hundred more bottles." I looked up at her beautiful face, momentarily stunned. Good clothes really do make a person look more spirited and refined. The current Ivy, with the tens of millions of dollars she'd stolen from me, was completely transformed. At this moment, I couldn't see any trace of the girl who'd come to our house as a nanny with Evie years ago, wearing a patched coat. I was genuinely curious about what method she'd used to bind me to that trading system with her. Seeing my silence, Ivy grew impatient. She arrogantly pointed at my nose and said, "What are you standing there for? Hurry up! Today is the birthday banquet I'm specially throwing for James. Can you handle the responsibility if you delay things? Oh, and remember to buy more 1992 Chateau Lafite. James loves that wine. While you're at it, help me buy the most expensive cake, an 18-layer one. Then call a 5-star restaurant and book a private venue with reserved seating." I was so amused by her shamelessness that I laughed. She was enjoying life with money stolen from me, yet still wanted me to handle everything without spending a dime herself. Where in this world could such a good deal exist? I stood frozen in place, looking at the hundreds of empty wine bottles piled around her. I silently prayed for them in my heart. If my father found out that his precious wine collection, accumulated over many Christmases, had been completely drained by this bunch, I honestly had no idea what kind of beating he'd give them. Just then, James stumbled over drunkenly, followed by a group of disgruntled classmates. One male classmate said, "Amelia, are you deaf? You're just the daughter of a lowly maid, and Ivy is your master. Whatever she tells you to do, you have to do it. Go buy us more alcohol right now. If you keep being this lazy and ruin Mr. Simpson's birthday party. Ivy only needs to say one word and your mom won't even be able to work as a maid anymore. She'll probably end up begging on the streets." The watch I'd given James was gone from his wrist, replaced by a thick pure gold watch. He also had a limited edition Rolls-Royce key fob clipped to his belt, clearly someone who'd recently come into serious money. No wonder they were calling him Mr. Simpson. From the looks of it, Ivy must have spent over $8 million on him. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. No wonder Ivy was so desperate to force me to help her. I said coldly, "Sorry. My monthly allowance is only $1,500. I don't have the money to cover your expenses. If you want to fire my mom, go ahead. I'll have her move out of the villa right now and quit being a maid." I turned to leave, but suddenly someone grabbed my hair. James roared, "Amelia, how dare a servant's daughter speak to your master like that?" His eyes were like poison-tipped daggers, boring into my face. Then he continued, "Back then, if you hadn't impersonated Ivy's identity, Ivy and I wouldn't have been delayed so long in getting together. Today, I'm going to teach you a lesson." With that, he shouted, and over a dozen of his lackeys rushed forward to pin down my shoulders. I watched in terror as they closed in on me, struggling desperately. "Let me go. Are you all insane?" But James just smiled maliciously. Then he slapped me across the face. "Today I'm going to discipline this servant properly for Ivy." A barrage of slaps rained down on my face, and my lips started bleeding. Ivy stood nearby watching me leisurely, showing no intention of helping whatsoever. She said, "Amelia, I've been too lenient with you usually, which is why you've become so spoiled. I'll let James teach you a lesson. After this, you'll know who the real master of this villa is." Dizzy from the beating, I shouted for the butler to come throw these people out, but I realized all the servants in the villa had been dismissed, so I had no way to call for help. It seemed that during my time at boarding school, massive changes had taken place in the villa. After about half an hour, James seemed to tire from the beating and stopped, but soon, his greedy gaze locked onto the diamond necklace around my neck. James said, "How do you have something so valuable? Don't tell me you stole this too?" He excitedly grabbed my necklace, trying to yank it off directly. The chain cut painfully into my neck, and I shouted angrily, "Let go. This is a keepsake my mother left me." But James didn't believe me at all, and kicked me hard in the chest. He spat at me viciously. "How could your maid mother's salary possibly afford something this nice? I bet you sneaked it away when Ivy wasn't looking." With that, he ran to the kitchen to get a fruit knife, planning to cut the necklace off directly. But this necklace was the only thing my mother had left me after she died. I absolutely could not hand it over. I struggled desperately, stubborn enough to want to go down fighting with them. But just then, a shocked voice came from the doorway. "What are you doing?"